Hi guys, it's Mary with a new quick and easy pattern. This is a basic 2-color reversible design. I'm calling this one confetti because this new yarn from Joann's reminds me of confetti. So let's jump right in. I'm using this big twist in speckled brights and big twist in watermelon. So I've already made cakes of these two yarns, and I just want to mention that caking the yarn ahead of time, you'll find any knots and joins that can be cut out. Also, I pull from the outside for an easy flow of the yarn. This avoids those uneven lines you get when the tension is different. Starting at needle number 1, for me it's the first black needle. I'll wrap the yarn around the needle and advance a little bit until this needle sinks into the machine. Then I'll weave the yarn behind the next needle and then in front of the following needle. And then you'll continue to go behind and in front of the needles going all the way around. Take your time to make sure this is done correctly or your knitting will unravel. The yarn will wrap behind the last needle. Then we'll put the yarn in the yarn guide, reset your counter, and we're ready to knit. So I like to control the tension with my hand. The yarn moves through my fingers and I'm able to pinch a little more or a little less depending on the tension that I want or need for a particular yarn. Okay, time to speed things up. I have an adapter from Maker's Parts on Etsy. They are the original designer of this attachment, and I like to support small businesses for their creative designs. So you can find the link to this particular attachment below. So before I get a bunch of comments about my drill, I need to mention that I have been using this for a few years now and have not had any issues whatsoever. The key to this attachment is keeping the drill level with the machine, both in height and side to side. So I use a stack of cardstock to find the exact height that I need, and a pile of books would work as well. Just find ones with different thicknesses. Once the height is locked in, keep the drill straight to the machine. If it's not, the plastic parts can rub together and eventually fuse together. Obviously, we don't want this. For this section of the beanie, we're going to knit 44 rows. To change colors, cut the working yarn at about 6 inches. Remove it from the yarn guide and place in the center of the machine. Take your next yarn and place it in the yarn guide. Place the tail between the last and the first needle, or in the same place as the other tail. So hold the tails up high in the needles to make sure they get caught by the hook, and then knit almost all the way around. When the number 1 needle is just about to pop up, slide the stitch back using your loom hook and allow the needle to pop up through. We want to keep this stitch on the needle to create a jogless look by knitting these two stitches together. I have a detailed video of this technique. The link is in the upper right corner and also linked below in the description. So continue to knit with the new color for about 5 or 6 rows or so. Then what I do is I pull up on the tails a little bit to remove the slack before tying a knot. Continue to knit this section for a total of 86 rows. Before the knitting touches the table, roll it up like a donut. Continue to roll it up as many times as you need. Time to bind off. Leave about a 20-inch tail before cutting the yarn. Remove the yarn from the yarn guide and thread onto a tapestry needle. To avoid dropping a stitch, hold the tail up high under the last needle to make sure the hook grabs that stitch. Then, using the needle, pick up the next stitch and pull the yarn through. At the same time, hold the next stitch in place with your finger or thumb so it does not pop off. And then continue to pick up stitches going all the way around until your knitting is off the machine. Unroll the tube and stretch it out to even out the stitches. Then we'll fold the tube in half, matching the wrong sides together. So I like to reach through one end and grab the opposite end and pull it through. Align the two ends so that they are about the same length. Then go ahead and pull on the tails one at a time to close up the tube, but you don't want to close them up all the way just yet. So take one of the tails and thread it onto a tapestry needle. Next, we're going to pick up a couple of stitches on the opposite side of the tail. It's important that when you're picking up stitches that you're not splitting the yarn. If you split the yarn, you won't be able to cinch it all the way closed. So here I'm just finding a couple of stitches and running my needle through them. This is the last row of stitches on the outside. And then I'm going to go to what I'm going to say the inside and picking up a couple of stitches there. And I'll just alternate going back and forth between the outer side and the inside, just randomly picking up 2 stitches on each side. And I do this about 4 or 5 times going around. Again, just be careful not to split the yarn. So by doing this, we're going to secure the 2 ends together so that the inside of the hat doesn't come out. When you take it off, it will stay together as one piece. Once we're done with that, going around, you will go ahead and cinch the tails to close up these holes. You want to be careful because you don't want to break your yarn here, and the tail that you were seaming with is going to be a little difficult to pull, so just be sure not to pull too hard and break that yarn. And I do check the inside to make sure that it is closed all the way. When I'm satisfied with how it looks, I trim the tails a little bit and then I go ahead and tie a couple of knots. And then I trim those tails just a little bit more, and then using my crochet hook I will find those tails and just pull them to the inside of the hat, the inside layer. And of course, you can always add a finishing touch by adding a pom-pom or even a leather tag that has a cute little symbol or saying on it. If you like today's video, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. And then check out some of my other circular knitting machine patterns and tutorials. Thanks for watching.